I run two literary magazines. One of them is cc&d magazine. It is named after individual issues are released as Amazon books. They get titles based on somebody's chosen piece, which I say that sounds like a good title for the book, and that's why this one is titled Another Lifetime. And I'm going to share with you a couple March-themed poems that are in this book, because, you know, it's March.
It is March.
And one for today, for March 4th, because March 4th is, well, anyway, this is called March 4th. When things seem to be at their worst, March 4th and try to make a difference. After you counseled rape victims, fought for women's rights, come together in a Take Back the Night rally to feel safe when walking home alone outside at night without needing a man by their side. March 4th, when you see a political injustice in how a government treats its citizens, even if it means you have to stand in a square and confront an armed tank by yourself. March 4th, for your rights, to give you strength and hope the government notices. Collect money from supporters and March 4th to help your loved ones who suffer with breast cancer, diabetes, ALS, AIDS. Even feel free to March 4th confidently in your boss's office as a woman when you know that you deserve more pay for better than equal work amongst your male co-workers. March 4th to get answers when your family hides truths from you that you are positive you have the right to know. It may torture you to learn things you don't want to believe, but know that the truth is worth 1,000 marches, because this is the most dignified, the most stable, even the most healthy way to start to make change.
Wow. Yeah. March 4th.
March 4th. I don't know if I shared this one with you, Tom, but I'm going to read it anyway because it's on the list. It's Equality for Women, because it was written for the International Women's Day, which is March 8th. So it's in 4 days.
Right.
So that you know. It's like equality for women. I've seen women treated as second-class citizens on the other side of the planet because their religion says that women should cover everything except their eyes, which is probably based on the lurid, uncontrollably sadistic sexual tendencies of the men in this species. I was in Luxembourg on the only one warm day on my first European trip, so I wore shorts. And I didn't know that I would be seen as a whore because I wore shorts. Apparently I missed the customs training, but I can't help but think that men can wear shorts, but apparently women cannot. Now, in the USA, a study shows that college men say on record that they are against rape, but that 3/4 of them will say that they will plan to get women drunk enough to not fight back to have sex. I know the law, boys, and that is rape. It's just that you don't want to say that you're okay with treating women as nothing. These may be the same fraternity men who rape. I'm referencing something that happened in a local college on this story. Sorry, I have to get that out. This may be the same fraternity men who rape a woman and leave them for dead in the dirt. And while she's in the hospital, they press charges against the man. And then after this perpetuance of evidence, the judge gets the man off with 3 years of probation and an expunged record. It's really amazing to see how women are treated so equally. I could go on and on listing details about how across all industries and across all states in America, women make less money than men, and it's even worse for women who aren't white. A quarter of all women are raped or sexually assaulted, and a fourth of married women live with regular domestic abuse. But really, Who wants to hear about numbers like that? This should be a feel-good piece about equality for all women. This should be a glowing characterization of women with power, like Angela Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany, reigning supreme as the most powerful woman in the world for the past 8 years. Women are CEOs of GM, YouTube, Infidelity Investments. Think of the power of female celebrities like Oprah Winfrey have. And I don't care if you have an issue with Angelina Jolie, but she's also a NATO Goodwill ambassador, and she assists refugees. I could list all about how the most philanthropic women are out there, but some of them are only so philanthropic because of their husband's money. I could talk more about how women are not holding political offices in the United States, but if men reigning supreme in politics won't understand what women want, well, more women should. Or maybe I could talk about the first female astronauts, though through only today they were able to report that they had the first all-female spacewalk. I know Americans landed man on the moon some 50 years ago, but it took American women another 15 years to join the space race. Wait a minute, this was supposed to be all about the whole equality thing, but it's just so easy to get sidetracked when you look at the uphill battle that we've all had to climb to gain any real respect. Because, yes, decades to centuries ago, women had it so much worse. We had to fight for the right to vote. I mean, the U.S. Constitution had to be amended to allow it because we women needed proof that our rights couldn't be taken away from us. And even recently, we women have had to literally take the bull by the horns to prove that we can fight with the big boys, and not only in combat in the military, but also in the workplace and at home. So, women, keep up the good fights, like throughout history, from Nefertiti to Cleopatra, Joan of Arc, to scientists like Marie Curie, as we've all had this ability. Andrew, we have your offer ready. I have to stop when they announce. We all have the ability to go above and beyond what men expect. So, whether or not all the men agree with women, know this. All women are equal to men. I believe in women, and more importantly, all women must remember that they are equal too. It's second nature for us to keep fighting the good fight. So know that all women are behind you, because you are worth it. I know that was a long one.
Is that your book?
Well, it's some pieces of mine that are within this, as I'm the editor of this poem, this book, cc&d magazine. It's a monthly thing, and it was out a couple days ago, so I'm reading material from it. And these are March-themed things. This one was written for March 14th, I believe, because it was the day that Albert Einstein was born, on March 14th, which also happens to be the same day, on a later day, calendar year, that Stephen Hawking passed away. He passed away on the same day. That just kind of blows my mind. Anyway, this poem is called Vortexes Indenting Our World. Yesterday, I enjoyed reveling in the knowledge about Albert Einstein, since yesterday was his birthday, March 14th, that passed, and I was reflecting on his past, and even how his scruffy misdemeanor was there. I mean, like, why worry about grooming when you're redefining the laws of nature? And redefine he did. I mean, I can understand equating a bending of space-time like a vortex, indenting any surface, but my mind won't bend to comprehend the slowing or speeding of time. Then again, the only way I'd have the chance for certain to actually see that is to get too close to a black hole, staying at that piece of staying in one piece, just so I could understand that change in time. But anyway, as I say, yesterday was a great day in reveling in science, thanks to a man who had to leave Nazi Germany, fearing the formula that he had created could be used to help annihilate all of mankind. I knew this pacifist choice to write the U.S. president, asking for him to make this bomb before Germany did, weighed heavily on his mind. I just hope it wasn't so heavy, making him unable to make additional leaps of a physicist's faith, because one physicist did, Stephen Hawking, bending on not only the scientific world, but also ALS, living much, much longer than my friend, who was once actually using the same voice box that he did. I thought for a while yesterday, on March 14th, what amazing things these two scientific minds could create, until I realized that I reflected on the wonders of Albert Einstein on the day of his birth, as well as the wonder of Stephen Hawking on the day he passed away. What gravity a single day can take to the scientific world, as well as the world's goals as a whole. One day, a day corresponding now with so much like the beginning of the number pi, 3.14, but 314 is a day that is more than just about equations. It's about the greatest recent scientific minds, opening the world to more than just equations. Trust me. I'm not going to read something about the day I gave you a hat for. I think I will just do and read one more and then give it back to, because I'm going to freak you out, because this one, I'm going to freak you all out. This one is written for March 20th, written on Atheist Pride Day. This is a fun challenge. This is a fun challenge. I've got over there a book called Every Event of the Year. You come up with things for every single... I've got volume 1 there. Volume 2 will be out by the summertime. And I've got ones for Easter and from Lent, but I also have this one, so I'm going to freak you out with this one. I might save Easter for you for later from that book. So this is called Oppression on Every Front, my last piece. After understanding the oppression women feel with objectification and the threat of rape, it is hard to back away without finding oppression everywhere. Women wanting sexual freedom and a human feeling of control of their life with birth control. That might be oppression from it because of religious hindrances. Also, in the LGBTQ communities, they can still feel oppressed, treated like nothing because of religion. Speaking of, some religions still even inflict genital mutilation. But those religions keep their lemmings in line, asking them to go to church to hear their speeches every week, and don't forget regularly to give them money. They tell you that they think that this is the path to morality, where the bloodiest wars in history have been fought in the name of religion. Yes, they say this is the path to morality. So after using your brain for years, after looking for evidence and finding no proof, you made a rational decision about there being no God based on all of the evidence. And when you made that decision, it was like a huge weight was suddenly lifted off of your shoulders. You can be moral and not fall in line with religion's backwards ideas. And by the way, religion holds no ownership over morality whatsoever, especially when so many people claim a set of religious beliefs and they don't ever follow them. So when you look on this day, on this one decision that you made, you can feel pride in it because you know it is right. And when close friends who had just had something terrible happen to them, so they just would revert back to their Baptist faith, if they give you a long letter asking you to reconsider because being an atheist means that you lose out on heaven, well, believing in their belief, that believing even if there's no God, that means you lose nothing. as if and it is in that moment, trust me, that you will understand. Because if you're supposed to believe when there isn't any God, then you've missed out on life altogether. And when they try to convince you, you'll know that you're actually the one on the more. When they try to convince you of this, that's when you'll realize that you are the one on the moral high ground. Trust me, it'll actually feel good when people try to turn you into someone else. When you're forced to shut off your mind, it will be nice when people don't like the fact that you're using your brain. After a while, it will support you. It'll support you that so many people globally are so willing to turn off their minds. So, living in the Bible Belt of the USA, you may live somewhere where everyone else believes in a God. And if you feel oppressed, feel pride knowing the moral caliber of those trying to ridicule you. I know it can be hard when the rest of the world decides to rely on faith and not reason, how they only lambast those in the minority. These lemmings will do whatever they are told to do. You were bold as to use your brain, and use it you did, to make choices only rational choices could make. Guess what? They are the moral choices, not religious masses. The religious masses won't tell you that you're making moral choices. There's no money in it anyway if they were to say that Jesus would be proud of their choices anyway. So worry about this money first mentality that they now have in his church. So based on morality and based on the choices you choose to make, I shouldn't be the first one to say this, but I'm proud of you.
All right.
That was a tough one for me.
No,
I do have ones about religion as well, but I'm saving that one for you in the first round. And